My name is Balaji. Today I'm going to show how to use Sylang language for system development, especially for model-based systems engineering. So let's first look into the Sylang website. So go to sylang.dev. So sylang.dev provides you all kinds of information about the Sylang MBSE framework, its language, its structure, and how to wear and how to use the Sylang language. So if you go to this website, you see that you see a kind of a part V model here. So the Sylang, which is for system language, of course we can pronounce as slang or Sylang, however it comes, but I would prefer Sylang, is a domain-specific language for model-based systems engineering. So right now, Sylang is much more focused towards automotive development, but of course, it's common for aerospace or medical standards, or even for any web development. So this Sylang framework is made of several file extensions. So um, what is the difference between Sylang and any other tool in terms of system development? Is Sylang addresses the challenges that the MBSE framework faces, because today MBSE, if we have to implement MBSE framework, there are several tools that needs to be interconnected and making sure that the source of truth, from one tool to other tool is consistent across different tools, and there are so many different connectors, and it's kind of confusing. Sometimes you have connectors, sometimes you don't have it. So there are exports, imports, and so on. But Sylang is basically bringing everything as a text-based language. And it is created as a text-based language because if it's a text-based language, both AI and human can read the language, in a same playing field, and then we can use AI to support accelerating our system development. I will show you how to use AI and Sylang together. But at a high level, Sylang addresses, model-based systems engineering, and as you see, it's like a V model, and V model, majority of the system work comes on the left side of the V, starting from product line engineering to feature model, variant model, requirements, functions, and so on. And of course, on the right side of the V, we have a definition of the test cases, and those test cases needs to be completely linked to the design side as well. So if you want to know, how the syntax and the structure, of course, click any of these boxes, and each one of those boxes represents a file extension, and that file extension has a certain structure and certain keywords. So for example, here the product line engineering has a certain set of structural keywords. Structural keywords are defining a certain structure in that file extension, and then property keywords basically or the properties of that structure. And for example, in this one, there are no relation keywords because product line engineering is the top of everything. It's like a parent of everything, and that's why we don't see any relation keywords. But if we go into requirements, for example, we have a header definition, a structure, and then we have also a definition block of the requirement. And then you have property keywords and relation keywords and so on. So this syntax structure is common for across file extensions. Of course, the keywords could be different, but overall, the syntax structure holds true in every file extension. It starts with some import types, and then of course every file starts with a set. It's a set of requirements, and it can be a set of features, it can be a set of functions, and so on. And then then there's the definition block comes, where the definition of a certain requirement or a function or a feature or a test case, whatever it is, failures, and so on and so forth. And you will find all kinds of syntaxes in these examples. And you have the syntax structure here, and you also have an example how to use this how to use this syntax. And overall, you can see several several examples, several different file extensions, and making sure that the relation keywords is the one that ties every structure together. It can be a function, it's a requirement, and function and requirement are tied as function implements this implemented by this requirement, and we can say the requirement implements this function when if you are looking at bilateral traceability in this case. So we'll go into more details while we develop. So here is the document of the overall technical specification. See here, this is a very detailed documentation available here. So feel free to go through this. I'll show you how the AI would be able to do this, of course, without going into any kind of any kind of details in this website, because AI has a different set of there is a different file that AI reads and understands how the language is defined. So let's see how to use this Sylang MBSE framework. As you see here, we are having a download Sylang VS Code extension. So if you go here, you can see the Sylang description and everything. Of course, you cannot install it from here. You need Visual Studio Code. If you don't have Visual Studio Code, go to Visual Studio Code. This one, yeah. See the open source CI code editor, download for your operating system, and you can start using it. So I have already installed it. As you see here, this is my Visual Studio Code editor. And the first of all, if you would like to start the project fresh, of course, you can open a folder. So you can open here and create a folder, Sylang test folder. Yeah, so just give a name, open a folder. Okay, so this is basically going to be your project workspace, and here we go. We can initialize the Git repo and so on afterwards, but let's see how the initial files can be created and so on. So before start using the Sylang language, you go here in the extensions and search for Sylang, and you will find this extension here. Sorry, the extension, I don't know why it's not coming up. So here is the extension Sylang, and currently it's released as 2.23.26. The updates always come on a daily basis or on a weekly basis, so please update it accordingly, or you can select auto update. So now you can install this application. So now Sylang is installed in your application. So how do we start using Sylang? So the first one is basically you need to, if you want to use AI, you need to tell AI what to do. Yeah. So if you installed Visual Studio Code, you can also use Visual Studio VS Code, GitHub Copilot. So in this case, of course, you need to pay for Copilot. It's $10 per user. Once you have already paid for it, you would be able to use the AI in your development workspace. So if you want to use AI, for Sylang, the problem right now is, of course, the models have not learned Sylang language because it's a new one. It has not crawled the web yet and understood the language overall. Of course, we can give the website so that it can go and read it, but the easier way, so to make sure that it has the access to the Sylang syntax all the time, you just click Command Shift and P. So Command Shift P will open the palette, and you can click Sylang rules, Sylang create Sylang rules. That's the first thing when you do it. It creates a Sylang rules. It's an auto-generated file, as you see here, and also you see some notification here. The Sylang file is auto-generated. Oops, it's gone. So it's auto-generated, so do not edit manually. Yeah, so that it has all the information about the Sylang language, the examples and stuff like that. So you don't have to go through this. It's it's if you want to program by yourself, of course, you can go through it. But if you want to use AI more, You don't have to go through it. AI will read it, understand, and then it resolves accordingly. Okay, so right now there are, I mean, it's well, you can ignore this output because there are no files created yet, so that's why you see this one. It's better to open this problems folder, and then you can start from here. Let's assume you want to create a product line. You want to create the whole product line and its system artifacts for, let's say, a LiDAR system. So you can ask GPT, you can choose any kind of, different models. I prefer Cloud Sonnet 4, but you can also use, anything from here. So let's use Cloud Sonnet, and of course we can change something, while we code. So we want to create product artifacts for a LiDAR system. We want to use AI to help us in developing, let's say, a LiDAR system. It could be a braking system, it could be an EV, EV motor, whatever, or medical system or whatever. Yeah. So um, let's take an example for a LiDAR system. So um, you can ask AI to can you create product line file starting can you create starting with product line file for lidar 905 nanometer system and create features of this lidar system in an FML file. Make sure it follows all the Sylang rules. So this prompt is only in the beginning that you are giving more instruction because it's the first time we are starting. So we need to give a little bit more context and information. But once after a couple of prompts, it understands the language very well. So you don't have to include even the Sylang rules file. It can go to the Sylang rules whenever it's stuck. Whenever you have any problems, linter errors, make sure that you correct it yourself. Yeah, so that's one good thing that the AI will correct the linter errors when when it uses some wrong keywords or wrong syntax and so on. So we don't have to go and validate that; it can validate by itself. So let's start with this. So let's see whether it creates the right files to you, and then I can show you, how to use, different diagrams and documents and so on. So let's see what it comes up with. Okay, so it is working on. So it's going to create a PLE file for us and a feature model file. Okay, it created a PLE file and it's working on an FML file for it. As you see here, it has created the product line for LiDAR 905. It's creating a feature model file. So let's wait for. You can keep this file. As you see here, there are no errors that find, no problems as of now. The feature model file is usually a long file, but let's see how big the file is going to be. So meanwhile, if we are looking at the language, you can see what is how. Oops, sorry about that. Not the developer, the docs. So if you go here, you can see this is what the syntax for your product line engineering. So it's already been created. Let's see how the syntax for feature model will look like. The feature model will look like this. We have the feature set because it's a lot of features, and then we have definition for each one of those features, and you can see some important keywords. Yeah, so whether it is a mandatory system or it's an alternate system or it's an R feature, sorry, not system, alternate feature or mandatory feature or optional feature. So these are coming from ISO 26580. different types of features in the feature model. Okay, it created the feature model. As you see here, that's a lot of information that has been provided. So let's see how big is the file. Yeah, as you see here, it's pretty big file. Yeah, so that in the first iteration, it has created a lot of different features. Of course, I kept the file. It has no problems, no errors. I mean, usually the error is like when you make a mistake, then the error comes. Here, the definition keyword is not allowed. Yeah, so it needs to be fully error-free. You see here, once you click the mandatory is not there, then there is an error here, but also it has error here as well because these are the these are the siblings of this feature. So if it is not mandatory, it doesn't know whether this mandatory is right or not. So that's why you have the sibling feature flag consistency as well. So now, it understood the language very well. It was not trained. It's a pure LLM. It was not trained on Sylang, but when we provided the Sylang rules, it knows how to create a Sylang artifact from this. So now, I have a raw file here. So sometimes it's difficult for someone, oh, I have to go through a lot of code. So for human validation, it's even simpler. You just right click, and then you have different options like doc views, diagram views, project views, and so on. So go to doc view and say, okay, I want to see as a document. So here we go. So all those text information that is there, it's displayed as document view. So it's more like an Excel view or a typical ALM tool view. So you can go through this. If you want to review this, you can go through this list. So as you see here, there are 31 different features has been created. If you think you're more a visual person, then you can also go here. Oops. You can go here. Sorry. You can go here and then go to diagram view and then say show feature model diagram. So it also shows more in a pictorial view. As you see here, these blue ones are mandatory functions. The green ones are optional features. Sorry, not functions. Features. The mandatory blue ones are mandatory features. These are optional features. These are R features. The R is basically you can select only one. Sorry, you can select at least. You should select at least one. So you can have more than one. You can have object detection. You can have tracking algorithms. You can have semantic segmentation. Um, yeah, you can have more than one, but you have to select at least one. And then, yeah, it created more R. Of course, you can also have alternative if that's the case, where you have to choose either this feature or other feature. So that's basically how the features or can be visualized. Of course, you can at any time you can close and open the diagrams and everything is created right away. So this is just how we are able to create a file for product line, a full feature model file within a couple minutes using AI, and you can visualize, you can have documentation and everything. So this is the basic introduction, how to start with Sylang language. So we saw that we have the website here where you have all the information about syntax and everything, and you need Visual Studio, or you can have any kind of Visual Studio environment like Cursor or different ones. And I'll also show in another video we can use Eclipse, and we can still have this installed with Eclipse. Yeah, so and also we saw how to use AI, how to use GitHub Copilot, basically to help us, create all these features. And of course, it takes really a long time if any human is going to, draw these diagrams and do some documentation. So these are very easy. AI understands the text-based language, and it just creates, the nice contextual information about the LiDAR system. Of course, we can check the content later more. We will have to review the content more, but at least you know how to use the system now. Okay, and of course, if you want to download this picture, you can download this picture right away. Yeah, so this picture is downloaded as an SVG file, and of course can be opened in in a browser, or you just double click it. It can open in any image viewer. Okay, so this is only these two files. We can create, it has up to now 18 different file extensions has been developed, and we can use all kinds of file extension. We can use multiple, multiple blocks, multiple requirements, multiple functions, and so on. So I will show you one by one in different videos, how to add more for this feature. So far, Sylang is the language for model-based systems engineering, and VS Code is the development environment where you can you can download Sylang and from the Microsoft Marketplace and start using it. The first command, when after you install it, Command Shift P, or open the command palette and create a Sylang routes file. Again, it's not required, but it's highly recommended so that we can use AI to create artifacts really fast. Okay, thanks for now. This is Balaji, and this is regarding the Sylang language. Thank you.